hit the button. Come on. We got lots of great content for you.
Wake up the kids.
Yeah, for real.
Okay, welcome everybody to Cardboard Cutouts, episode 3. As always, I'm joined with Junior, and we also have our guest, Jonathon Ware. So is everybody ready?
Let's go!
Okay, guys, we got some topics down here at the bottom. We're going to talk about some of the things that are going on. It's been about a month since we met last. So why don't we start off with supply? There seems to be an issue with the supply. People are starting to limit box amounts that you can get per family, per household. Why don't you guys give us a quick take on those things? Why don't we start with Junior?
Okay. I think with the all-time high that this industry is in right now is just causing massive issues with not just like manufacturers but suppliers, and then you're looking at the retail aspect. There's guys that are fighting with each other at Targets in the U.S. There's guys that are getting into screaming matches up here in Walmarts over these boxes of cards. Now, obviously, I can see why, because you walk into a Walmart, you get a blaster box for $30, right? You go on eBay, go on Amazon. There's guys on Amazon selling blaster boxes for $120, which is completely outrageous.
Yeah.
But I get it, because people are still paying them money because they're searching for gold, and they think if they keep hammering it out and out and out, it's I think we've touched on it before. It becomes an addiction, and these guys are just they're going overboard looking for these grails that, to be honest with you, just aren't there right now. I don't know. What do you think, John?
Yeah, man, like you said, it's like it's gold. There, you don't know what you're going to get in the box. And I read the same thing as falling on Reddit, and a guy pulled a gun on someone at a Target, for a box of cards. It's legit. They want to take one box per family so that they can keep up with the supply of demand, right? It's people going in, they want to be able to get a box, and if you don't, we know how nuts it is in the U.S. Like this industry has just blown up. People are pulling guns on each other for a card now. Like this shit was never
it's crazy.
That's unreal.
Anyone out there, you got stories, drop them in the comments. We want to hear them, because we're hearing a lot of crazy stuff out there. So let us know what any issues you guys have with the supply in your city.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested. It's funny because, when you don't know what you're getting, there's this element of surprise. And you see this with even, to be honest, we all have kids. Some of these blind bag stuff that you see, right? Kids buy a toy, they don't know what's inside. It could be any character. This is the same thing that's happening with cards now, right? You don't know what you're going to get. You can get a whole bunch of rookies in a box. You can get a few rookies in a box. We watched a guy live on Instagram, opened up, what was it, a $2,000 box of Prism basketball?
Prism, yeah.
Right? $2,000 he paid for the box. What was the total cards, June?
$300. Like, it was just a complete miss. And I mean, that's a $1,700 dip right there. That's huge. You're not always going to get lucky, and that's the problem. You got to learn that lesson early when you're in this game. Especially, there's so many newbies out there that have just jumped in this year who know nothing about collecting. Now, listen, I was away for a long time, so I consider myself a newbie too, jumping back in this year. But the one thing I learned right off the bat is you have to know when to stop.
Yeah.
Let the supply catch up, because the issues that these card companies are having is keeping up with the demand. And that goes into another aspect, which is quality, and we're going to get to that later. But you have to chill out. Hit your local hobby shops. Yeah, you're going to pay a bit more for your blasters and your boxes, but at least you're not going to get stabbed over it. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit of a budget. So guys are buying boxes of cards for $2K, not pulling a lot, as we mentioned. Prices keep climbing. What's the ceiling on some of these boxes? What are the boxes that are kind of really, really hot and doubling, tripling in value, before you have the chance to see what's inside of those?
Quickly, right now, it seems like this basketball stuff and the EPL cards are just absolutely like insane. I've seen boxes going $3,000-$4,000 on the secondary market, which
that's outrageous.
I mean, come on, like. I've gone in the beginning. I was buying boxes of Topps Heritage for $200, and even for me, I was like, "That's a bit pricey for a box of cards." And I bought two of the large hobby boxes, so you're talking like 30 packs. And yeah, I pulled some decent stuff, but you end up with so much cardboard that's absolutely worthless that you sit there and you try and tell yourself, like, did I recoup my money that I invested in this box? And 9 times out of 10, you're not recouping that money unless you're hitting a really, really strong card. So, I mean, whether it's a blaster or a pack or a hobby or, up and up and up, and buy boxes, like cases of this stuff, you're never guaranteed a hit. You might end up with a few cards that are like kind of that mid-level, mid-tier, but just because you spent the money doesn't mean you're going to get it in return. So, budget's so important, and stop being like taken by people and going out and dropping $3,000 of your hard-earned money to buy because you want to film it on YouTube. I get it, because guys are getting mad hits and mad channels, but these guys are also probably dropping $10,000, $30,000 a month on cards. So, their ability to get hits and pull these big cards is a lot more than the average collector is.
Well, I'll ask you this too. Like, if you're going out and spending $2,000-$3,000 a card, what's the likelihood that you're going to pull enough good cards to recoup that amount of investment? John, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, it's unlikely, right? I think these guys that are producing the companies that are producing the cards, like, they want to play the long game, right? They want to get as many boxes out as possible. It's like the lottery now.
Mm-hmm.
You're going in, you're scratching to win. Like, they got you hooked. I'm going to go back another scratch, get another box, right? It's an addiction now. Like, back in the day, like 1989, 90 was when I was collecting boxes, right? I was buying boxes when like Upper Deck came out and all the good stuff. And then we used to collect it because we wanted to collect the set. It was like, there's a few good cards there. We would collect the teams, but nowadays, like, people are just like, hey, almost chuck the box, like, next box, open up, looking for that one card. My buddy, I don't collect boxes anymore, but my buddy got me a box for my birthday, my 40th birthday last year. And he was like, just get into it. And I just started ripping these packs. I'm like, oh shit, man, the novelty, the excitement again. It was like, damn,
rush.
I'm going to go start buying boxes again. But he bought a box. So getting into Magic cards, he's a huge Magic collector, and he bought a box, spent $400 on a box the other day. And he said he probably pulled, just like $100 or something like that out of it, right? And it's like, I'm like, but dude, you know what? Right now the card, he's like, the most valuable card I had on there was like $40, so it's 10%. And I'm like, well, maybe just sit on that card because it's 40, 400, 4,000. That's sort of the trend, right? But like, it's a long game. There's a lot of demand, and there's no point in these companies to be producing that one hot card more than a few times, right?
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a good point. And, thinking about those box prices and them being so high, if you think about the focus, is it the time now to develop, focus on a team, on a player? Is there a market for singles specifically? And, what about looking at sets? What's the focus change with these prices being so high?
I think if you're a guy getting into the market right now, that whole idea of getting into this box break culture, toss it out the window. Pick a guy from your youth. Pick a guy right now that's hot. Pick a guy that, maybe he's been in the league for 3 years that you think might have this really high upward trajectory where his rookie cards are still, attainable in terms of price, and there's still market out there for it. And then, start looking at the G League or the farm system or, the AHL, the CHL, and look for guys that might be on their way up, because I know the CHL, they have their packs now. I think OPC and Upper Deck put out the CHL cards, so check those out. Like, it's time to get away from the box break culture, to focus on a team, focus on a player. Not necessarily sets. I mean, if you want to get into sets, you can get into sets, but understand that when you're still buying a set, you're not getting those 1 of 1s or those 1 of 10s or those 1 of 100s. You're not getting a lot of numbered cards. You're just getting the base run. So, and a few inserts in there. You're not getting any specialty cards with foils or, reflectors or, hollows. You're not going to get any of that stuff. So,
yeah.
For me, as much as I want to go out there and grab a box and just, like you said, John, just rip through it and get that rush opening those cards
for that golden ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've completely done a 180 with the way I'm looking at things right now. So, I'm looking at guys that have been, in baseball for 3 or 4 years. I'm looking at guys that have been in hockey for 3 or 4 years, football 3 or 4 years, and just collect that run so that when it gets to the next the next season when these cards are coming out, again, keep focusing on that, because there's guys, go on eBay. You're going to find cards for $1 or $2. So, I mean, the investment's not that much. And especially if you're going to pull a really nice card that you can send off for grading, and, you're going to hold that collection. It's just the way to go right now in terms of not, spending out of your mind.
So you're kind of looking based on a strategy of, who's going to pop off next after a few years, looking to hit that prime, make a name for themselves, and essentially have those card values go up over that prime period of time. John, what about you?
Yeah, no, it's 100% in line with what Gene's saying. It's focus. You gotta, if you have passion for cards and you have a passion for the sport, you're gonna have a few players you really love. And if you really understand how these players became big and became good, you collect other players like that. But you look at, the older players, I think we chatted about this last time, is you look at the older players who are going to be going into the Hall of Fame, you're going to try to find these high-graded, high-quality cards that are still cheap and affordable. And then what the strategy really is that you focus on a few hot prospects in 2 or 3 years, and then you sell them. And then you focus on the card that you couldn't afford 2 or 3 years prior, and you get the card that you wanted, right? So focus is also there's a longitudinal game to this, right? This is cards. People have been collecting cards for 20, 30 years. Did they think that, the rookie that they collected, 30 years ago, it's like Lemieux. Lemieux was always expensive. $250 they paid for his rookie, and 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was a PSA 8. That card's worth like $2,500, $3,000 now. I didn't want to keep Lemieux. I'm like, one day I think this card's gonna be worth a lot more money. And the point was to buy a card that I really wanted.
Yeah.
Like, I know this card's because he's awesome. Look at all the points he got. He's right there beside Gretzky. This card, I think Gretzky rookie, PSA 8. 10, 15 years ago, you'd still would have paid probably like $3,000, and I paid $250 for Lemieux, right? Now it's worth like $12,000, and but you get it, right? So I think focus now will have its payout long term.
Yeah. So for me, what I did is I looked at this guy. There's been a lot of talk about this guy. It's Jason Dominguez. He's a Yankees prospect. And he had auto cards and numbered cards that were like going for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. I'm like, okay, wow. Let's reel it back. The guy's never played in the majors yet. But if he does blow up, I don't want to be the guy who's stuck not holding one of these cards. So he had a Bowman Chrome and a Bowman First paper base and a refractor base. So, I found a guy that was selling a lot of them, like three of the refractors were like $15. So I was like, I'll take those. And then I got 2 of the paper base, and I think I got those for $25. I'm like, okay, I'll take those. Now I'm going to leave that alone. But now he's in the minors, so Topps Heritage does a minor league collection. So I might try and get my hands on one of his Heritage cards and leave it at that and just build off of that. And then when he finally gets into the majors, I'll wait for that set to come out, and I'll try and grab a rookie card. That's where I might buy a box from a hobby shop where you'll spend, $225. Stay within your focus, but you don't have to post it online. Just rip it through, enjoy it, sit in a corner by yourself with a cup of coffee or a beer, and just run through it and try and grab that card. I did that focus with Nate Pearson and Bo Bichette, Vladdy Guerrero Jr., high-end, high-name prospects where, you can still get their rookie cards, not graded, but you can still get their rookie cards pretty easily. And I'm sure anyone out there is going to say, okay, well, Vlad's a big name. Yeah, he's a big name, but you can still get his rookie card for like under $30. Mm-hmm. You get a nice one, get it graded, toss it in the PC and let it sit. Bo, I've got probably the full collection of his rookie cards. And those, we'll get to grading later, but I'm waiting on that, get those graded, it's going into the PC, and then that's it. So those are going to sit there forever. I'm not going to look at moving those, because if these guys do get into the Hall of Fame, you're going to get into a position where you're going to have the first year, the second year, the third year, the fourth year, the fifth year, the sixth year, and you can just basically write a check on all of those cards. So sometimes having that focus is better than 15,000 pieces of cardboard that you pulled from boxes that are worthless.
Well, we got John over here who collects every card of a couple of different players, which we covered on our first episode. Yeah. So we know what that's like. So we touched on kind of supply, and these card companies are trying to keep up with supply, but what we're hearing is that there are complaints with the quality issues and the poor product that they're putting out to try to keep up with the supply and demand. What's your thoughts on that? Is there a remedy for this supply demand solution, or should they reel it back and make sure they're putting out the high quality, or is it just a fact of just trying to print money basically?
I mean, for me, I've broken some boxes and pulled out some cards that were just god awful.
Like scratched, go through that. Like what's not
so basically like an odd cut where the number of the card is missing, or the number's been cut in half by the cut. The center is like, half the card is showing and it's been cut here. And, there's people out there like, oh, those are error cards. No, that's just a bad print job.
Yeah.
They're worthless. And, I opened up a box of the 2021 NHL Upper Deck looking for the Lafreniere rookie. And when you go through a box and every single card in that box has a print issue in it, you sit there and go, what? Like, what did I do to get this box and completely throw out money? So I think what they need to do is these card companies need to reel it back and really start doing some better QC on their product, because there's people out there that are paying 3, 4, 5 times what they're worth and what suppliers are actually paying, like charging retail for.
Yeah.
When you got these kids who are just trying to hunt and pull these cards to put them on eBay, I mean, you're just causing everyone to lose a lot of money, and I don't think that's cool. That's kind of what turned me off from the box. Like, I'm not buying boxes anymore. When you're throwing out a $200, $300 bill just to have it, basically stepped on, I would have been better dropping it in a slot machine. It's not cool. I mean, at least in my eyes, it's not cool. Anyone out there, drop in the comments the worst box you ever broke in terms of the quality of the cards. We'd love to hear it.
Let me ask you a follow-up to that. So are cards, when they're graded, and I know we're going to touch on grading in a moment, but when cards are they graded against the other cards that are coming out of that set, or is it a standard template for grading? If the centering on every single number one card of this set is not centered properly, can it ever get a grading of 10?
No.
If everything else hit,
there's a standard.
It's not graded against its own box.
No.
Or what the production quality was like.
No.
Okay.
There's basically a template that they lay over top of your card, and if it doesn't meet the parameters of that template, then you get points knocked off.
Yeah, fair enough. John, do you have any comments on the quality issues that we're seeing out of these retailers?
Well, I think, again, like Gene kind of like nails it on the nose with the whole QC. Like, if it's a real business, right, which cards are, and they're just growing at the speed of light, you got to have a QC to this. It's got to be like, it's got to be part of the logistics, right? And if they don't have it, then there's a problem. So, like, just even like going to a website with a hockey card, I don't know the last time I went and checked out a website of the brand that I'm collecting, whatever, because I don't know, like, how are they, it comes back to like their whole branding thing. Like, part of your whole QC is like, you want people to collect your cards. You want that really awesome brand. But if you're going to go and produce a bunch of cards and the quality's off and people are spending $400, $500, you're risking your brand big time. Right. And I'm just thinking about this, like how online are these companies? Like, how online are they? Because this all goes into it, like the QC part, like it's both your online presence, it's your brand, it's your card, right? And I wonder, are these mom and pop shops still? Like,
they could be. They could be.
Like, how big are they? Did they all outsource everything to China? And is it a big warehouse? It just cuts and nobody checks it. And they just and it's back in the US and Canada in like 7 days, and got a shipload of boxes and nobody QC'd the thing. It's just all outsourced. Like, who's doing it?
Yeah, it's an absolute turnoff. You know what I mean? It's an absolute turnoff, and that's why I don't want to open up a box after I've invested to see that kind of stuff. I'd rather just go on eBay and take as much of a gamble just buying a single off of eBay rather than bouncing through a box of cards to get garbage out of it.
Maybe they need to have the cards say printed, made in Canada. I know it's all you used to say printed or made in Canada or whatever it is, but like, do they still have that on the back? Or do they have the little stamp that says printed in China, paper, and like, I don't know.
No.
We used to look
No.
at it. We used to see that. That used to be part of the pride and joy of OPG, right? Versus
Yeah.
Tops. Tops is American, OPG is Canadian.
I mean,
All rights reserved. Tops and Bowman Chrome are registered trademarks. Major League Baseball trademarks. Certain copyrights are used with permission. Visit MLB.com, officially licensed product of MLB. Tops, and then they give you codes. So
it's not made over here anymore.
Doesn't sound like it.
Probably part of the big problem. They just cutting costs. They're making hand over fist and money.
Well, especially if they can't keep up with supply, you're likely going to outsource that to someone who can turn on a machine overnight and have 20,000 people working in there to crack out boxes like you wouldn't believe.
But I mean, is that something you do to the people that are spending the money to collect your product?
Listen,
like,
absolutely
you don't
not.
do that.
And I would be. I'm not as a card collector as much like you guys are, but you look at a recent pair of Travis Scott shoes that came out. You pay $400 or $500 for these shoes. You wait in line. It's a boutique release. Very, very difficult to get. Some guy gets them. He opens up the box. There's blood on the shoe.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, that's ridiculous.
Right? You don't expect that. You can't resell it.
Nope.
It's literally worthless. So unless Nike gives you a refund for that shoe, which you'll never be able to get that shoe again anyways, you're really not going to, those shoes are selling for triple the price. So with that quality piece, who are the organizations or companies that are putting out the higher quality boxes? Do you guys know?
The problem is that there's so many different brands that are under the umbrella of so when you look at Tops has Bowman. They've got what else? They've got a bunch of different lines that are based underneath that umbrella. You look at Panini. They've got a bunch of different brands based under that. Upper Deck owns O-Pee-Chee. They own what else is the other one they own? And Peachy's got like 3 or 4 offerings, and then Upper Deck has 3 or 4 offerings. So it's like it's just like it's almost a monopoly. You've got 3 companies that are printing all the cards, and it's like they have no one to answer to. And because of the price wars that are going on right now, no one's willing to stand up and say, "Hey, are you guys going to put out some good stuff, or am I going to pull this garbage and not make any money off of it?" Like, I don't get it.
Okay. All right. So let's do a quick freestyle here. So let's break it up a little bit. Pick an item that you want to talk about. So you guys go ahead.
I've been talking too much. John, you go first.
Let John hit it up.
Well, I want to get into like this whole the whole digital card thing. Like, there's all kinds of, like, there's digital currency. There's this, what's it called? Like, where they, it's the first of something that they digitize, whether it's real, they take a picture of it, they digitize it, they put a little code to it. What like with this whole NBA hoops thing, like NHL was looking into it. Yeah, so we got Jordan put a bunch of money into it. It kind of went up. Now it's tanking like crazy. I got buddies that invested into it early, made a bunch of money. They're kind of like, humming and hawing. Like long term, is the digital card going to be big? Is NHL going to bite it? Is football, like, are all these guys going to bite it? I'm just really curious. Like, should we jump into this, or are we already too late? Because when you look at what's going on with this whole NBA, like they wait on distributing the packs, right? So you got to jump in line, and then you can see you're like, 17,000 out of 250,000. You got a 2-hour wait before you get your pack, right? Like, that shit's pretty cool. I have to say, like, you're kind of just on your computer. You don't have to go to a store. You get a little clip of a player. It's, I don't know, man. I just want to know, like, what you guys think the future of that stuff is.
Well, we actually are in on it already.
We do. I'm already Top Shots.
Top shots.
I'm in knee deep already in those. The next time we have you on, we'll crack a pack open. We'll make sure we've got a pack for.
Well, my buddy was super early on it too. He's got some great digital cards.
Yeah.
So, So I'd love to see it. Yeah.
Tops does have them. I think it's what the hell are they called again? Tops Bunt. I think they're called Tops Bunt. So basically, it's the same thing as collecting the regular cards. You can jump on eBay. There's guys selling the digital cards online, but they're like $1, $2. But then There's also like autographed ones, and it's almost like just collecting a regular set of cards, but it's digital. I don't
But it's
know.
digital, and really, like you look at us, like, we got all our jerseys up, we got our magazines up, we love touching this thing, and maybe are we the last generation of touching cards? Or
I think so. I think so.
The weird
You know
thing
what?
for me with the go ahead, June.
So no. I was just gonna say, our issue is that we do want to touch them, but with touching them comes imperfections. With a digital card, there's no grading required. It is a perfect digital replication of the card, and
Dude, it's data. It's data driven. It's like we can confirm there's only X, and it's 100%. Like, there's only this amount, and there's no counterfeiting so far, but it's only maybe a matter of time before this whole thing just flips on its head. And that's my whole concern, is like, really, when I look at like Bitcoin and all this sort of stuff, I'm still worried about how legit it is, and counterfeiting that can happen, and some Russian guy who hacks in and figures it out, and then all of a sudden it's some black market with this stuff, right? So I'm always hesitant to, like, I'll just hold on to my cards. But you know what, like the replicas that you see out there, the physical cards with like even PSA's like they're sending back cards that have question mark. They can't tell if it's fake or real. Like the technology they have with the physical card, they can't tell if it's fake or real. So, like, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
I would just say this on the NFT and Top Shot. So I was showing this to somebody. I was showing my wife some of the NFTs, right? So that we picked out of one of the Top Shot packs. So checking it out, I show her a couple, a nice dunk here, a nice pass, a nice block, okay, whatever it is, a little, this is the first moment of this person or whatever. And then me and Junior were talking offline just before that when we had opened them about the LeBron James one. It was, 59 issued of this digital moment. It's a breakaway LeBron. It's a typical LeBron dunk where he just, kind of goes like that. It's a breakaway. There's nobody around. It's nothing special about it at all. It's not a compelling dunk. And basically one of these Top Shots sold for $210,000. And so you can go right into this digital moment. You can type in LeBron in the search window, search the marketplace, and you can watch this moment. So I show that to my wife. She goes, "Well, what's the difference between you watching this moment and you having that moment that's allocated with your name and serial number on this?" Yeah. Like, there is that intangible factor, right? It's in a wallet somewhere, just sitting there, and it's mine. But I mean, what makes it special? I don't know yet.
So let's talk about like NFT real quick. Non-fungible token?
Fungible tokens.
Fungible token, yeah.
Fungible token. This shit's like this is brand new stuff. This is super brand new. This is cutting edge. It's crazy. Crazy stuff.
Well, I mean, the one thing, if you want to know more about it, tap in on Gary Vee. This guy's releasing stuff all the time about the NFT market, saying you need to get on this right now. He's telling people, if you drop pictures, digitize it, sell it. There's people digitizing memes and selling the memes. I mean, that little girl who stands in front of the fire, that sold for like $37,000 or something. Like, it's a picture.
Go back to Beeple on IG, right? I think we might have touched on this for a minute, either on the last cast or whatever. Yeah. But Beeple put 5,000 of it. He posts every day on Instagram, put the last 5,000 of his pictures together in one collage and sold it for $69 million. You can't do anything with it. You can look at, unless you get a 100-inch projector and put it on there. 5,000 images, they're going to be like a postage stamp on that wall anyways. You can't do anything with it. It's nothing.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
people are interested.
Yeah. The one thing where it does pose value, I think, is the one that we did talk about, the Kurt Cobain, his last private photo shoot that never got released to the public, with like 600 pictures or something, like 2 full reels of pictures of Cobain. Having ownership of those images, where you can license them out to put on t-shirts, on backpacks, on napkins, on whatever the hell you want, where you can turn that into something that makes you money, then I completely understand how the NFT market can be valuable. But when you look at a Top Shot or with the Top Bunt, you're only owning a very small percentage of that moment. So you can't, necessarily go out and sell it. Oh, you can, but you can't license it. So I don't think I'd be able to start putting a highlight reel together of all these NBA moments of all these NBA players that I've got and charge people to view them. So, I mean, it's still new, but I didn't want to miss out on it because, you know, I've missed out on crypto, and it's so difficult to get in on crypto now. So it's like I have to have digital offerings in my portfolio for me to feel a little more safer with the way this world seems to be going. So why not?
Yeah. Good stuff. Okay,
You got a freestyle topic, Junior?
Go for it,
I was actually going to talk about that, so we kind of got it covered.
Shit, sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay, let's jump into grading. What's going on here? We got PWCC, BGS, PSA. We got some guys on hold here. What's going on with grading? What's the future of grading? And will grading go digital?
Well, we actually have an idea on the last part, but anyway, we're not going to get into that because we don't want people stealing our ideas. There's a huge issue with the grading companies right now. Why I say, you know, if we want to come out and call the culprit a culprit, it's PSA. These guys are like years backlogged by years because of this craze, of this market and the explosion. Because, you know, I don't know how many Pokemon cards that they ended up getting, but like it's millions of them, and they completely jammed the system up because I don't think they were prepared for this or saw it coming. But, you know, literally you've got these guys who go in and buy, you know, they clear out a Walmart, they clear out a Target, and they open all the cards, and then they take the good ones and they send them off, and they're sending off 30, 40,000 cards at a time. And it just completely destroyed everything. So now, you, John, you were putting a submission together before they shut the...
Don't even talk about it, yeah.
And I had one going, and so basically what you can do is you can go in there, you type in your card, you can create your submission list, print it out, send your cards off. So I had the submission going. You know, I had my Bo Jackson. I've got some Joe Sakic rookies. I've got I've got some cards from the 50s hockey that I was going to send in. You know, like Stan Mikita and Mahovlich, and I've got some of the old greats that I was going to send in there. And then I had some of the newer cards with basketball, like, you know, John Morant, Zion, LaMelo, all these rookie cards that I have for them. I wanted to send them off and get graded, not necessarily to sell, but just to get them graded and get them into the PC so I can continue, you know, buying, grading, bringing them back, going out, buying, grading, and just set up my cycle.
Knowing that exact value of that card based on the grade, right?
That's the thing too, right? So, and I had a lot of doubles of them, so I was going to sell one and then keep one. But the whole grading situation just completely screwed me up. And I just don't know enough about the other grading companies in terms of their I wouldn't say legitimacy, but their sought afterness. Because I know the one thing that I've always looked at is, like, when I'm searching for a graded card, the first 3 letters I type into the search bar is PSA. Right. So for me, it's always been tough to look at BGS or PWCC. There's a few up in Canada, or one up in Canada that's actually real. The other one is not. But there's one that looks like they might be okay, but they haven't put the muscle behind their brand yet to kind of compete with everybody else. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place right now. And I really wish that they just figure it out, hire more people, expand their operation, because I don't know when this is going to stop, because it just seems to keep getting worse and worse and worse.
Can you submit any card, or are there a certain list of cards that you can submit? Like, you can't submit a common 10-cent card, right? To get
of course
graded?
Yeah, you can.
I mean,
you can.
Well, you can. So that's the catch. So PSA has hired like crazy. They hired like a bunch of people. They expanded their warehousing. So they're trying to. The only problem is they waited too late.
Yeah.
And they're like me. I waited too late to send in my cards, and then they waited too late to upgrade their facility. So just to take a step back, I'll answer your question. But you know, I got screwed. I waited, and I was like ready. Had all my cards, and actually was waiting for one card in the mail. I'm like, I just want to wait for that card to come in to send it in with my collection. And I started catching wind through Reddit. They're going to up their prices as a boom.
Yeah,
they're going to up their prices. And I'm like, well, what are they going to do? Like a couple bucks? They doubled their prices. They doubled the cost to send in one card for all their grades. So their scale is, you know, super high, expensive. It can cost like, you know, like $1,000, you know, to send the card in. Like it costs you a lot of money to send in your card. So yes, you can send in a 10-cent card. It'll cost you $20 now, right?
Yeah.
To send that in and get it graded. So anyways, I waited, and then boom, you know, that price jump happened. I'm like, shit, man. Well, now let's like just get my let's separate the collection, because now it's going to cost me twice. So I'm like, well, let's just send in my cards I really want to send in. And then I caught wind they're gonna shut the doors of PSA for a bit. I'm like, and boom, you know, come Monday, whatever, doors were shut, and they're like, we're not shutting it for like a few weeks. We're shutting it for like 3 months.
Yeah,
we're like, I'm like, what? I'm like, this is when you open your doors, it's going to be floodgates. You guys are going to be just as in shit as everybody else. And like Gene said, you know, when you're typing in, you know, you go to Google, you type in Google for Google search engine. When you type in grading, you go to PSA. You know, there's a couple other good ones, but it's really like, you know, PSA is going to make you your coin. But again, like, they're going to hire all this staff. There's a lot of room for, let's go back to quality control. Everyone is going to have a different opinion. Nothing is 100% digital, where it's like an unopinionated, unbiased computer algorithm that assesses the card and provides you a fair grade. If they do that too, then everybody who ever had their card in before then should have to send in their card in the future. Or ultimately, what they do is they change the case, and they say this is the case from this time on, and this is a digital thing. So I think grading has a long way to go. I think it's going to go digital, but I don't think it's going to go digital like how we think it is. It's not going to be something online. But how cool would that be ultimately? You know, kind of putting your card up and it's scanning your card, and then them sending them. Like, probably wouldn't happen, but. Yeah, I don't know. Like the grading,
a lot of room for counterfeit and maybe error on that too, right?
Yeah, that's another thing too.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of opinions about all this grading thing, because I was so into it, and now the thing is that you can't get your card graded. So how valuable are those cards that are graded?
Are they going up? PSA graded cards right now?
Yeah, they keep scaling. Everything keeps going up. Where's the ceiling on all this stuff? We don't know.
That's why, like right now, it's a great time to buy singles and hoard them and wait. And you know, and the thing is the price difference between PWCC and BGS and HSA, like the price difference is like huge.
What would it take to have a shift in culture to say, you know, PWCC is now?
Well, PWCC is more of like they're actually not a grading company. They're like an auction house. Like what they do is they grade your graded card.
Yeah.
So they tell you that this is part of the human error. They have another like insulation layer where they're like, this guy at PSA said this is a 4, but honestly, if you were to send that business back in, it'd be a 6. This would be a 7 because it's really poorly graded. It's a much better card than it's worth. So what they'll do is they'll give you a ratio of like top 1%. And when you put those on eBay, if it's a PSA 2 and it's a top 1%, it could be a PSA 5. And so what people are bidding on is PSA 5's value on a PSA 2. Like this is the business. The business is messed because it's garbage in, garbage out. You know what I mean? Like this is the reality. Yeah, fucked.
How does that get fixed? I mean, what's the next steps for something like that?
Digital, unbiased algorithms that have ML, AI all booked into it. You know what I mean? They hired like 1,000 staff at PSA. Unhire them.
Yeah.
Invest into machines. Invest into like state of the art technology. Recase the future. Say this is more of a digital case of the future, and then don't do the red and white. Do like, you know, black and like some cool hologram, something cool, and say this is all digital. And like say vintage cards are going to have ML AI technology built into it. Let's say like 100-year-old cards, there's probably like 15% of them available still. So of those 15%, a 10 can't be a 10 of 2022. A 10's got to be a 10 of that 15% that's
era,
left.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Of that era, of what's that?
So in that case, so in that case, going back to what I was saying earlier, so in that case, you are grading against the competition of that same era rather than it being a perfectly centered card, etc.
It should be, but the problem is it's not. So, you know, like when we even looked at that PSA 10 Gretzky that sold for over $1 million.
It wasn't centered.
No, it wasn't centered that well. The bordering was off a bit, and you know that's $1 million card.
It was fluffy edges. It was fluffy edges because, well, that's just how it was cut in Canada. But still, I'm like, well, you know what? They actually had some pretty good cuts too. You know, not every OPG that came out of this set was fluffy edge. You know what I mean?
No. So like that's I got a happy
baby. I want to know the guy that graded that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for real.
exactly.
And and I think that's accountability. Accountability is a huge thing in this. And
What
sorry,
about Pop
John,
Control? Pop Control.
and pop
PlayStation
control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're controlling the pop. Well, there's one Nolan Ryan PSA 10 out there. If you look at every other card from that series from that year, there's hundreds.
Yeah.
But just that they took Nolan Ryan, they decided let's just make one PSA. Like, dude, this is people controlling the business. There's a bunch of unions that are being told how to like that. To me, is wrong. Everything's wrong.
There is one PSA 10. It was 1997. They did Flair. They did a reprint in 23 karat gold of Ken Griffey Jr.'s rookie card. There is one PSA 10. I have it, but there's one PSA 10 in the pop control. There's one.
No.
There's one.
It better be in a safe.
Oh, dude, it's
dug underground. It's in a
go.
time capsule.
It's in the panic room, so we don't have to worry about that.
Okay, so you mentioned it's sealing.
Yeah.
Where is the card collecting game going? Is there no end in sight? Are these prices just going to continue to skyrocket, especially as digital starts to come in? Are paper cards and actual cardboard cards going to be just continuing to rise, or is this going to kind of maybe fade away in the next few years?
There's kind of two answers to that question. There's one, I mean, it's the easiest thing, is if people keep buying, it's going to continue to go where it's going right now. There's pundits out there who like to say that they're the smartest guys in the card collecting game and they predict all these things, but you can't predict people. So take your predictions and shove them up your arse, because you don't know what's going on. Just like the next person doesn't know what's going on. If you were to tell me the Shohei Ohtani rookie card that I have, when I got it was worth $10, $15. And if you were to tell me back then, oh, don't worry, just sit on that, it's going to be worth, $50,000. You don't know. If at the end of the day, your cards are worth what people will pay for them. You could have a PSA 10 Mike Trout rookie, and someone can say to you, "Sorry, bud, that's $500. It's $500. That's all I'm going to pay for it."
Yeah,
so
you can put it on eBay. You can put it up for $250,000. Put it up for $15,000. If nobody pays that money in the end, it doesn't matter. It's the auction. It's ultimately the auction. It's going to card shows. It's getting as much exposure as possible, right?
Yeah.
So stealing it, is there an end? Not right now. We're not a creature like if the bubble bursts, like there has to be, like we thought COVID was going to be the bubble that burst everything. Instead, it
insulated everything
from it. It went the other way.
Yeah.
It's like people are like, I'm going to die, so I was going to buy all these cards. I'm going to go buy cottages. I'm going to buy the car I never had, because they can't do other things with the money. Will it slow down? Yes, but you know what? It brought in so many new people into the hobby that it's never going to go to what it was 2 years ago. If anything, it's like 150, 1,000% higher. If anything, it'll go to 500% higher. Right? That's still way higher than it was a couple years ago. So that means the price of the cards are always going to be higher than they were.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be worth less money. Yeah.
They might just not get ridiculously inflated, and the bar's just been set higher than it was a few years
I think they still will, but I think the card companies are also going to catch on and say, so we've got about a 15,000% increase in people who are collecting now. So those 1 out of 10s, instead of putting them in every 5,000 boxes, let's put them in like every 50,000 boxes.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah.
There's your control, and you're going to continue to charge ridiculous prices, and people are going to keep paying for it. When your odds to get that 1 out of 10 or that auto card go from 1 in every 5,000 to 1 in every 50,000, that's when I'm like, sorry, have a good day. I'll wait till someone pulls it, and if it's attainable in terms of price, maybe I bid on it. But it's just I think it's absolutely ridiculous the way things are going to go. And I think if they start doing that in terms of increasing the box counts and decreasing the amount of high-end cards, it's going to completely destroy the hobby industry.
I feel like I feel like the moment the card companies see any slow on new box sales, they'll probably go to a similar model like something like Top Shot, where you have to get in line just to re-engage you into that supply demand issue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
They're going to really be able to keep you in there and in that pocket. If they say, hey, the only way for you to get another box, just as you're maybe about to step out of the game and just enjoy your collection or change strategies. Oh, you know what? We're only going to do 20,000 boxes. It's a limited release, and you have to line up online, similar to Top Shot, and create that hype. That's smart marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they need to have some smart people, and I don't know how smart they are right now, right? I think they've got a few of them that are up in the high seats of the ivory tower that are shipping everything overseas, right? So they think they need to change their game. I think that they need to, yeah, they need to go digital. They really do. They need to start to grab this data, and they need to really action on it. I don't know how advanced they are in terms of data collection. Like, it feels like we're the ones still driving the market. We're still pointing them in the direction that they're supposed to be going, and they're not steering it. Yeah,
No.
they're just chasing. They're just chasing after us. Right. So, yeah.
Awesome. Any final thoughts, gentlemen, before we wrap here?
Good talk.
Yeah, this was a good one. So check us back in 2 weeks. We'll have the next episode, and we're going to try and start a pack competition. So we're going to get 3 packs of the same brand. We're going to distribute, and we're going to have a competition to see who's got the best pack break.
Cool.
I'm already getting excited. My stomach's like turning. It's getting butterflies.
We
boys.
We trashed the whole industry that their packs are too expensive. We can't get them. We're going to do a pack break on the next episode.
We're going old school, though. We're not going new school. We're going to go old school, like maybe some like 60s football or like 70s basketball if we can find it, or
love it.
Early 80s baseball. Like, we're going to find something funky to take a look at. And maybe if we can find a blaster box that's affordable, maybe we can do some of the new stuff too.
All right. Well, that's awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining. Jono, thanks for hopping in here again. For everybody here at Offside and Out Bounds, we brought you Cardboard Cutouts, episode 3 today. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior.
See ya real soon.
Hey, thanks for watching our video. But before you go, why not hit the button? Come on. We got lots of great content for you. Come on. Come on. You know you want to. We've got the cast coming on Tuesday at 9 p.m. live. Come on. You can do it.